This is the story of the United States of America. It is a long story with many people, many wars, and a lot of tea. Long ago, North America was a very quiet place. Well, not totally quiet. Many different groups of people lived there. We called them Native Americans. They had their own kings, their own languages, and their own food. They lived there for thousands of years. They were very happy. Then, in 1492, a man named Christopher Columbus had an idea. He lived in Europe. He wanted to go to India to buy spices. Spices make food taste good. But the trip to India was very long. Columbus said, "I will sail west. I will find a short way to India." He sailed across the big ocean for a long time. Finally, he saw land. He saw the people there and said, "Hello, Indians." But they were not Indians. He was not in India. He was in America. Columbus was very confused, but he was also very famous. Soon, many people in Europe heard about this new world. The kings of Spain, France, and England all said the same thing. "I want that land. It has gold. It has space. It is mine." England was a bit slow, but in 1607 they sent some men to a place called Jamestown. These men wanted gold. They did not find gold. They found bugs and hunger. They almost died. But then they found tobacco. People in Europe loved to smoke tobacco. "This is better than gold," they said. They made a lot of money. Later, more people came from England. Some people were called pilgrims. They did not want gold. They wanted to pray in their own way. The King of England said, "You must pray my way." The pilgrims said, "No, thank you. We are going to America." They sailed on a ship called the Mayflower. It was cold. It was wet. But they arrived. They met the Native Americans. They ate a big dinner together. This was the first Thanksgiving. More and more people came. Soon there were 13 colonies. A colony is like a small piece of a big country far away. These 13 colonies belonged to the King of England. For a long time, everyone was happy. The people in America grew food. The King in England got money. It was a good deal. But then England had a big fight with France. It was a long war. It was very expensive. England won the war, but the king had no money left. King George III looked at his pockets. They were empty. Then he looked at America. "Aha!" he said. "The people in America have money. I will make them pay me." He started to make new rules. "If you want to buy paper, pay me a tax," he said. "If you want to buy sugar, pay me a tax." The people in America were not happy. "That is not fair," they said. "We do not live in England. Why do we pay the king?" The king did not listen. He made a new tax on tea. People in America loved tea. This was the final straw. In a place called Boston, some men got onto a ship. They took all the king's tea and threw it into the ocean. Splash, splash, splash. This was the Boston Tea Party. It was not a fun party for the king. The king was very angry. "You threw my tea in the water? Now I will send my army." The American people said, "Fine, we will make our own army." They chose a man named George Washington to lead them. He was tall. He was brave. He had very nice hair. On July 4th, 1776, the Americans wrote a very important letter. It was the Declaration of Independence. It said, "Dear King George, we are tired of your rules. We are a new country now. Goodbye." The king did not like that letter. The war lasted for many years. The British Army had red coats and big guns. The American army was small and poor. But the Americans knew the land. Also, the French came to help because they also did not like the King of England. Finally, the Americans won. They were free. George Washington became the first president. He was on the $1 bill. He was very famous. Now, the USA was a small country on the East Coast, but they looked west. "There is so much land there," they said. In 1803, the president was Thomas Jefferson. He talked to the leader of France, Napoleon. Napoleon was a short man who wanted to fight everyone in Europe. He needed money. Jefferson said, "Can I buy some land?" Napoleon said, "Buy it all. Give me money." This was the Louisiana Purchase. The USA became twice as big in one day. What a deal! Two men, Lewis and Clark, went to explore the new land. They saw big mountains. They saw many animals. They even saw the Pacific Ocean. "This is great," everyone said. Thousands of people started moving west in big wagons. They wanted farmland. They wanted a better life. But there was a problem. The Native Americans lived there. The U.S. government told the Native Americans, "This is our land now. You must move." It was a very sad and difficult time for them. Then some people found gold in California. "Gold! Gold! Gold!" everyone screamed. People ran to California. They wanted to be rich. Most people did not get rich, but California became a very big state. But now the USA had a big problem. The North and the South were very different. In the North, there were big cities and many factories. In the South, there were big farms. On these farms, people grew cotton. But they used slaves. Slavery is when you own a person like a thing. It is very bad. The North said, "Slavery is wrong. We must stop it." The South said, "No, we need slaves for our farms. You cannot tell us what to do." In 1860, Abraham Lincoln became president. He was very tall and wore a big hat. He did not like slavery. The South was scared. "We are leaving," they said. "We will make our own country." Lincoln said, "No, you cannot leave. We are one family." A big, terrible war started. It was the Civil War. It was brother against brother. It was the North against the South. Many people died. It was the saddest time in American history. Lincoln wrote a paper called the Emancipation Proclamation. It said, "All slaves are free." Finally, after 4 years, the North won. The country stayed together. Slavery ended forever. But sadly, Lincoln was killed soon after the war ended. After the war, the USA grew very fast. They built a long railroad from one side of the country to the other. Now, you could go from New York to California in a few days, not months. Big business started. Men like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie became the richest men in the world. They built factories and steel mills. Cities became very big. People from all over the world, Italy, Ireland, China, came to America. The streets are made of gold, they thought. The streets were not made of gold. But there were many jobs. In 1914, a big war started in Europe. It was World War I. At first, the USA said, "We are staying home. We don't want to fight." But then, German submarines sank American ships. The USA got angry. "That's it," they said. They sent their soldiers to Europe. They helped win the war. When the soldiers came home, everyone was happy. The 1920s were a fun time. People had cars. They had radios. They danced to jazz music. Everyone thought they were rich. But in 1929, the Great Depression started. Suddenly, the money was gone. Banks closed. People lost their jobs. People were very hungry. They stood in long lines for bread. Then came Franklin D. Roosevelt. Everyone called him FDR. He said, "Do not be afraid. I have a plan." He created many jobs. He built bridges and parks. He talked to people on the radio. People began to feel better. But then another war started, World War II. In 1941, Japan attacked a place called Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The USA was shocked. "You cannot do that," they said. They joined the war. They fought in Europe against a very bad man named Hitler. They fought in the Pacific against Japan. Even the women went to work in factories to build planes and tanks. It was a total war. In 1945, the USA and its friends won. The USA was now the most powerful country in the world. After the war, there was a new kind of war. The Cold War. The USA and the Soviet Union did not like each other. They did not fight with big bombs, but they were very mean to each other. They had a space race. The Soviet Union sent a man to space first. The USA was jealous. "We will go to the moon," said President John F. Kennedy. In 1969, they did it. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. "One small step for man," he said. It was amazing. Inside the USA, things were changing, too. Black people were still treated poorly in many places. A man named Martin Luther King, Jr. had a dream. He wanted everyone to be treated the same. He gave big speeches. Many people marched with him. They changed the laws. It was a great victory for fairness. The years went by. There were more wars, like in Vietnam. There were new inventions, like the computer and the Internet. In 2001, a very sad thing happened on September 11th. Some bad people attacked New York City. The whole world was sad. The USA started a war on terror. In 2008, the USA made history. They elected Barack Obama. He was the first black president. It showed how much the country had changed since the time of slavery. Today, the USA is a very big, busy country. People still come from everywhere to live there. They have big tech companies like Google and Apple. They have Hollywood movies. They still have many problems to fix, but they are always trying to move forward. And that is the story of the USA. From a few people in Jamestown to a man on the moon. It was a wild ride, and it is not over yet.